Hey guys, Gary Bernier, and I've got the honor of hosting a whiskey event coming up in March. I know that's a few months away, but a buddy of mine has asked me to host an event for his whiskey club, and two of the things that I'll be taking people through that night is the Jura 12, and the other one is going to be the Smokehead, which also is a sherry bomb. So. Um, Had this sitting on my shelf for a while, been dying to try it, so this is the night I'm going to break into it. And every once in a while, somebody will ask, "Well, what's a sommelier do?" And we taste a lot of whiskey for one, and it's probably a good idea if you're going to taste a lot of whiskey to keep some notes on which whiskeys you liked and what flavor profiles and smells you picked up from them. But on top of that, whiskey changes. Well, I wouldn't say whiskey changes. Your perception of the whiskey changes when you pair it with things. So I'm going to pour some Smokehead. Because our smells are a perception. Our taste is a perception. Everybody's is a little bit different. That's why we like different whiskeys. Now, I should let this sit for a while and then come back and smell it and taste it. Because there's those that say you should let it sit for a minute, let some of the immediate alcohol come off, that a fresh pour, the top of the bottle's not the best, the middle of the bottle is the best. You get a different flavor at the bottom, and I guess that depends on how quickly you drink it and how much oxidization happens to the alcohol as you let it sit over the years. This has a nice amber color to it. Some sherries have they go more of that port finish. So this is a definite finished whiskey. What I like in the lineup is we do have the Jura, and it's one of the only unfinished whiskeys in the lineup on the night that I'll be doing the tasting. So it's going to be my reference because it is an unfinished whiskey. In other words, it's been put into ex-bourbon barrels, and that's it. Whereas the Sherry Bomb obviously has been in sherry. We have an Amarone. We've got a chocolate whiskey. So there's a number of different treatments that have been done to the other whiskeys on the lineup, which will affect the flavor profile and what we pair it with. So this is kind of strong on the nose, like I kind of expected it. I got to go back in. More woody than I would have thought. And yeah, it definitely has those sherry notes to it that you'd expect. But they're underneath the wood, which is really interesting. That's not a normal smell. Does kind of have that bomb smoke smell, that after like a cap gun type smell to it. Wow. That does fit what I was expecting. And these guys have not mislabeled this. If you're not a smokehead, don't even bother. The peat on this turned up to 11. It's kind of astringent and yet sweet at the same time. Yeah, and it's described on the back as, fruity, spicy, smooth, more explosive, boldly blasted. I would agree. This is not. And my idea is right now that this is going to be whiskey number 6 we're going to get to, because after doing this one, nothing else is going to compare. Now, what I think might work is what I've got some Mexican Coke. And the difference with Mexican Coke is it's done with sugar cane and not fructose. So it does have a different flavor profile to it. So I'm going to add some of this here. And I'm going to add our Mexican Cola. And then I'm going to give this a try, because here I'm doing a compliment where hopefully the sugar cane and the Coke actually bring down some of that explosiveness of the whiskey and make this into an interesting, drinkable pairing. And right now, the whiskey's hidden behind the Coke, so I'm going to add more whiskey. So that's a pretty stiff shot of whiskey in there. Okay. Now I get some of that astringency. Now I get some of that smoke. Now I get some of that sherry bomb coming through. And the Coke has moved off to the side. Yeah, this didn't work out the way I was hoping it would. And that, again, is why I'm trying this stuff and sharing it with you. The sommelier, whether it's a wine sommelier, water sommelier, whiskey sommelier, the sommelier's job is to test and keep track of pairings that work and don't work and let you experience the ones that work really, really well. I thought this was going to be an awesome combination. I thought this might pare this down, bring this down a notch, and it certainly did bring it down. But there's a battle going on in the glass between the Coca-Cola and the whiskey, and not in a good way. They're fighting for dominance. Instead of working together, they're fighting for dominance. Well, I'll either drink it or pour it, but thanks for spending the time with me and going through this experiment. I've got several more experiments I'm going to be walking you guys through, just so you can see how to play around with your whiskey and drinks, your mixes, your food, that sort of thing. So we're going to be running through some pairings. I'm going to be putting the Jura through its paces, and just to give just so you guys have a chance to see how to experiment and play around and figure out what might work for you guys. Anyways, thanks for your time. Till next time, cheers.